So we just found out last week that the NSA is looking into people's porn habits. What websites are you going to? You remember when they targeted Juan Cole, an American academic U.S. citizen? No, you don't remember because the media never reiterates it, right? But the fact is, James Risen at the New York Times broke a terrific story about it. And according to Glenn L. Carle, who was approached by the New York Times, he didn't come out himself. New York Times approached him, and then Carle told the story. He's a former CIA officer. He said the White House at least twice asked intelligence officials to gather sensitive information on Juan Cole, a University of Michigan professor who writes an influential blog that criticized the war. In fact, Carle's supervisor, David Lowe, according to Carle, said, quote, "The White House wants to get him." In fact, they went after him 2 different times. The other time, there is email corroboration. In the case of David Lowe telling Carle, there's a third person who corroborates the story. In the other case, there's emails that say, go get Juan Cole. Find out dirt on him. We want to find out his personal life. We want to see what we could use against him. Find out information on Professor Cole. Gee, this could really get out of hand. They did that back in 2006. Here's another quote from David Lowe. What do you think we might know about him or could find out that could discredit him? Boy, man, if the CIA or the NSA was to get out of hand and use that personal information. Juan Cole famously, at least in my book, said it, well, thank God I'm so boring they couldn't find any information on me. Now, it's unclear as to how much they dug up and what they sent over to the White House. The White House hilariously says, well, yes, we did ask for information on Juan Cole, but it was because we were concerned that the CIA was using him as an expert on the issue, which he's actually one of the preeminent experts in the country on that issue. Now, you want to know why they were actually going after him? Coincidentally, at the same exact time, Professor Juan Cole was up for an appointment at Yale, and neoconservatives were writing editorials saying, oh, this guy's dangerous and anti-American and possibly anti-Israel and should not get that position at Yale. Meanwhile, the CIA gets asked by the White House, coincidentally at the same exact time, if they can dig up some dirt on Juan Cole. But God, they would never do it to Americans. Imagine if they did it to Americans. Imagine if they did it to American academics. By the way, Juan Cole did not get that position at Yale because of that pressure. And he's still, thankfully, at the University of Michigan and still doing that terrific blog, which you should check out on the Middle East. Now, it's okay because they're just going to go after lefties, right? I mean, they're not going to go after regular American citizens, let alone our troops, the people protecting us. They're not going to do that, except for the fact that ABC News has reported they already have. I love reminding people of this story because apparently I'm the only one who remembers it. ABC News reported, quote, despite pledges by President George W. Bush and American intelligence officials to the contrary, hundreds of U.S. citizens overseas have been eavesdropped on as they called friends and family back at home, according to 2 former military intercept operators who worked at the giant National Security Agency Center in Fort Gordon, Georgia. Those 2 people did not know one another. They came forward independently and corroborated each other's stories without having any knowledge of one another. So what are they listening on? One of the officers said U.S. military officers, American journalists, and American aid workers were routinely intercepted and collected on as they called their offices or homes in the United States. So not just officers, but also media and aid workers. And Doctors Without Borders was targeted. Red Cross was targeted. Go, imagine if this program got out of hand, how dangerous it could be. That was back in 2008. Finally, what caught the most amount of attention? No, not calls relating to terrorism. According to David Murphy Falk, one of those officers, people would say, hey, check this out. There's good phone sex or there's some pillow talk. Pull up this call. It's really funny. Go check it out. It would be some colonel making pillow talk and we would say, wow, this was crazy. Yeah, I mean, I hear what the rest of the media is saying. Could you imagine if the NSA actually targeted Americans in the future? Ooh, boy, that would be really problematic. I'm glad they haven't done that yet.